Hockey town, going down to hockey town, whoa, whoa. Hockey town, take me down to hockey town, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection is on the air. We're at PACT-TV studios in City Hall in Duluth. It's Tuesday. What's the date today?
22nd.
22nd. You know, 49 years ago, John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Whoa, let's get this show going. But hey, we want to, the Minnesota Hockey Connection and all hockey fans in the Northland want to send our thoughts and prayers out to former coach of UMD Bulldogs, Mike Sertage. He's been pretty sick lately, and someone said that he has some cancer and that, so we hope he has a quick recovery. And hey, Mike, we love you. And you know, there's a guy, that great hockey coach, but I think he should have, his real job should have been a comedian, because he's a funny guy.
He is a delight. one of the best guys to sit down and talk to about anything, not just hockey, but anything.
Right. And today we have a real special guest, second-year coach now at Duluth East Greyhounds boys hockey team, Steve Petosia. So how's it going, Steve?
It's going very well.
I bet you're kind of, gimpy, the season's starting, you're practicing, you did some scrimmages. So what's it like?
Yeah,
as a coach.
It's been an exciting week. The first week was awesome. We picked our team after a couple of nights of tryouts, and had some scrimmages last weekend against Hopkins and Woodbury. Competed very hard, and it was a lot of fun. It's great to be out there competing again.
Hey, does the high school league? You can't scrimmage too many teams now, like 3 games or 4 games or something like that.
I believe we have 3 days in which we are allowed to scrimmage.
Isn't that something? You can't even scrimmage. The high school league, I'm sorry. I just don't believe in half the stuff they do. That's just my opinion, Steve.
Sure.
You be quiet.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so this is your second year as high school coach. You coached Bantam AA, the traveling team for Duluth East for many, many, many years. I go way back.
Yes.
Way back in almost in the late 90s, right?
Yeah, this about 17 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Took over in 2000, and that was a blast. A lot of memories. You know, blessed to coach a lot of talent coming through.
Right. And so you know everyone in the Duluth East area for sure, 100%, every hockey player, families and that. And then you probably know 60, 70% of all the hockey players from Cloquet, Hermantown, Marshall, too.
Yeah,
So,
I'm pretty familiar with the with the landscape of hockey.
big hockey family in this
absolutely.
area. Right. So going from Bantam AA coach, which is the top Bantam kids at 13, 14 years old, and going to high school, what is the biggest difference for these kids, you think, and for you, coaching that level, going from one level to the other?
Yeah, it's vastly different. It's one of the things you don't know till you know. Last year was, how fast and furious the high school season really is. From a head coach's perspective, is in terms of all the different balls that you're juggling. The Bantam season, quite honestly, it's you get most of the time you get a full week of practice, and then you go off on the weekends. You play 4 or 5 games, and then you come back the next week, and you have 4 or 5 practices that you can correct the errors that you had. High school hockey's not like that. You might be playing back-to-back games, and then have a practice, and then another game. So it's a little bit more fast and furious of a schedule, and it's condensed into 4.5 months. And so the time period alone just makes it that much quicker and challenging in different ways. That's for sure.
And probably just like going from high school to the next level, juniors. I mean, if you're not a lot stronger going to that next level, it's pretty hard to make it, even from like Bantam to high school. So that first year in high school, probably you gotta kind of fit them in slowly. A lot of the players, most of the players.
Yeah, well, I think last year just taking over the team and getting to know a lot of those kids as players. You know, I'd been gone for a few years, so there's a lot of growth that happens in 3 years of not seeing kids play daily. And so we put 30 some kids through the varsity lineup last year, which is a lot of kids,
Right.
you know, and
A lot of playing time.
but we got a lot of kids with some experience, and we got to know a lot of kids and see how they reacted in that environment. And so from that standpoint, it was a blessing. This year, I think our team is going to be considerably different as far as makeup. Well, I know it is, and so there won't be the same amount of opportunities for guys. Well, our top players are going to play more, and we're going to be a more competitive team. So, that'll work itself out that way.
I'm just looking and remembering the last couple of years. So I'm just saying, okay, special teams. I can see on the power play, Winkler out at the point, Christian down low, Peterson maybe, Gunderson. I mean, these guys played in the Elite League. And I'll tell you what, I've been gone because of my brother's thing, but talking to some pro scouts and some college recruiters, Gundy, I mean, he picked it up at the end of the Elite League. And so you're going to keep them healthy, and you're going to have a real nice player there.
Yeah, Thomas Gunderson he's a fantastic hockey player. He's a great student. He was voted as a captain as a junior. He's just one of those kids that lives for hockey, and he eats, breathes, and sleeps it. And I just love it talking to hockey with him, because he's so into it. And quite honestly, a lot of kids nowadays with their phones and all this stuff, they get distracted by a lot of stuff, and they don't sit and watch hockey. Thomas Gunderson is a kid who watches hockey, and he picks up and he learns from it, and it's such a valuable learning tool.
He's probably very coachable, and he probably someday might be a coach doing that the way he's doing things.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I think he has a very bright future in front of him.
Right.
And we got Winkler and Grant Winkler and Cole Christian and
tell us a little bit about the other captains.
Yeah, and Henry Murray. Henry Murray is a senior captain, a defenseman for us. Again, another great leader, brings quite a competitive nature to our team, and another good kid, good student. One thing we really focused on was our culture this summer, and our leadership really, it shows that it's a reflection of those conversations. And first practice, we looked at all four captains were at the front of all four lines, and some might say, well, that's the way it should be, but that's something you can't take for granted, I'll tell you.
Right.
When you're working with young people, but they've done a great job. And Cole Christian, another one who was in the Elite League and had a nice fall, has done a great job.
Right.
Leading our team. And
Every shift he works hard.
yeah, and then we've got some kids that maybe aren't wearing letters that are still doing a great job of leading our team. Makoto Sudo.
The kid's a smart kid and does what
And
he's very coachable.
Right.
I know his dad real well.
Yep, and Noah Tang, two kids that are in our leadership group, and then our seniors as a whole have done great with Bowden Donovan and Hunter Cook, Grady Downs, and Aiden Spenningsby. All these kids have done a great job of being leaders and filling roles. So
yeah, that's a hard thing. A lot of times, most teams, they always usually take the best hockey player as their captains, and really that shouldn't be. It should be the leaders, the one that can help your team. You can't be in that locker room all the time. You can't be out on the ice with them all the time. And so these captains can control a lot for the team and make the team better chemistry.
absolutely, in anything, leadership is important, and we've got a fantastic leadership group with our team this year.
Right. And like always, Duluth East, they have a strong schedule. I'm just looking over this. Let's see, where did I see some? Oh, just looking. Well, because of, you ever hear a breakdown? this has been going on for way over 10 years, and that they take pictures of all the top players of every high school team, and then they do a review, and they know these teams. But what they don't know is what players are going to juniors. They think they might come back to high school, but they don't know until that first day of practice. And that's really hard for a publication. This is a big book to put out there.
Right.
And I mean, I'm just looking, as
Tanner
you can see.
on front.
Yeah,
I think
and
he's
Clark.
staying in- yeah,
Clark's
staying
gone. Let's see, Grammer. All the Moorhead kids are gone. Schiller, Grammer, Bentz. I mean, that's set. Moorhead never left. Those players never left. And that's one of the best programs in the state right now, top to bottom, you know.
Yeah.
That's just crazy to me. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But something's going on there. But I'll tell you what, I went out to Pittsburgh for the Fall Classic for the USHL, and all these kids are playing in it. So we, at that point, didn't know if they're coming back, if it was before and after, you know.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, all these, hate to say it, but they all belong on those teams. They were playing that good. And most years, half the players just don't belong. Get back to high school, get stronger, get smarter, get, you know.
Right.
And so I feel sorry for Tim Cullenbaney for half the way they have to do it. They got to get it out to press. So what do? You know, that's a lot of money and color and nice. It's a nice book.
It is
they
a
do
nice
it.
book.
They do
a
great.
fantastic
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
It's first
and
class.
Here's the thing I like to talk about. They should talk to me every year. I'm telling you, I have to go to they're going. Let's go to the state rankings for AA. Where is it? That you know they don't. Your team's not getting no respect. In other words.
Yeah, that's okay.
I know, but I'm saying they don't know your team. You're deep, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you lost a goalie that was supposed to come back, but you picked up a couple goalies, and I'm sure one. I mean, you'll find out who's playing the most by trying them out. But boy, I mean, I like your team.
Oh yeah, I love our team. I think we've got good depth. We've got some good goaltending that moved in. You know, it's always the luck of the draw. You know, in high school hockey nowadays on you know these factors here and there. And you know, we were fortunate that a couple kids chose our program to move here, and you know, parents bought houses.
How did they find your program? Did someone know someone on the team, some parent or something?
Yeah, I think you know Duluth East is pretty well known, and,
right.
And I think they probably saw some opportunities. I mean, you read through publications like this, and
right.
take a look at
right.
And,
yeah.
You know, and people do those sort of things. You know, family advisors and all. You know, there's any number of factors that could, you know.
Oh, I have a friend out in the L.A. area, and he had three kids. So one was in the U18, one was in the U16, and one was the U14. They're all good hockey players, but he has to go to practice. It costs over $500 an hour. He has to drive 2 hours for all the different areas. So the mom has to do it, or one of the other parents has to help out. And they come from all over the area, as far down as San Diego.
Sure.
So I mean, these kids have to have money. For those three kids, it costs over $100,000.
Oh yeah.
Because they have to play all these tournaments back east or back in Twin Cities, up in Canada. You know, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's an expensive sport,
But I almost had a few come back here.
Yeah.
They says, you got to move too, though.
Yeah. I know when I got hired on one of those message boards, someone sent me a screenshot that said, you know, I heard he's an okay coach, but can he recruit?
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, that's what we do here.
Well, yeah, we don't do that here.
Well, you're not supposed to.
Right.
But in a way, if you're a private school with no farm system, how do you get them?
Yeah, I think, you know, at this point, I think a lot of programs, they recruit themselves. You know, I mean, either you like the environment and what's going on at a place or you don't. And
meet the coaches or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not, you know, when you're talking about your friends out in California, it's not like that. That is the one blessing we have here, right? I mean, not only do we get to keep the cost down a little bit, but you don't have to send your son or daughter away from
right.
home when they're 14, 15 years old, because other places around the country, that's what you have to do if you want to get that quality training. And your son or daughter ends up living in somebody else's house and eating dinner at someone else's table. And
See, that's the other problem. By living here, you don't get away at 15, so you're not ready for that. Most kids aren't ready for Minnesota, so they got to get used to it. And something goes wrong, their parents aren't there or something like that, you know. So that,
Yeah,
it's tough both ways. I mean,
no doubt, but
pros and cons.
absolutely, there is the benefit of getting the living in someone else's house and the being away from mom and without the gore of junior hockey
Right.
where you could be cut, released, traded, at a moment's
My
notice.
mom cooks better. No. But I was just thinking, you know, these kids go out there and that, you know, and even it's so hard in juniors now because these kids don't understand it's a business. And if that team's not winning, these coaches are trying everything to get a winner, and bring the fans in. It's a business. And so a lot of times if they're younger, they don't dress sometimes. And that can get to the head. So you got to be very prepared for this kind of life.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody's laying in bed dreaming of skill development, right?
Right.
If they want to play a game, that's what they fell in love with, was playing the game, and being a healthy scratch. That's not fun, especially when you come from a program where you're probably a top six
Right.
forward or a top 4D. And
See, my belief all the time is stay in high school, have fun. What's the hurry? If you're good enough, they'll see you. You will get caught, picked up, and that. So stay in high school. It's not a better life in your world. You'll have your friends for the rest of your life because you stayed there. But hey, everyone has their own decisions to make, and some of them are pretty tough.
Yeah.
And I'll give a good example of a kid. I'll give him credit. I didn't believe he was ready to go to juniors because he wasn't doing it he wasn't a top elite player yet in high school. He was a Duluth East kid, Jacob Jeanette, but he stuck with it. He's working his ass off still. He's bigger, stronger, and he's getting looks now, you know.
yeah, just committed to Union. And
Yeah.
That's
So, I mean, you got to give a kid that really, boy, I thought, you know, if I was his age, you know, I'd probably give it up after all those days you don't dress and all, you know,
Yeah.
and team switching. And
But you
it's
really got to
tough.
love it. I mean, and the
Yeah.
guys that make it, they really love it because, you know, I mean, it's no secret. The kids that do go on and succeed, it's not just because they're talented, because there's all kinds of talented hockey players out there.
Right.
Those are the kids that are willing to sacrifice. They're the kids that don't stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning playing video games. They're the ones that, you know, I guess I'm not going on that snowmobile ride because I got to train today.
Right.
And that's really the difference. You know, I mean, there's only 60 spots or 60 schools in college hockey,
Right.
Division I hockey.
Right.
So, and as you know, you and I have talked before, you look at the WHL Bantam draft last year, more kids drafted out of the city of Dallas than the state of Minnesota.
Yeah.
So the competition and that Minnesota bubble that we've kind of been, you know, blessed with, you know, it's kind of becoming a curse in the sense that we're in a lot of ways naive to what's out there, because the kid in Florida and the kid in Dallas, he's getting pretty good now too.
Right.
So
Well, but I'll still say, you look back, Minnesota still produces a lot of good players.
absolutely,
And
no doubt.
I'll tell you what, over the last 20-some years, there's no one close that comes to Minnesota with defensemen that had long careers in the National Hockey League from Minnesota, you know.
No doubt.
Okay, let's go back to the respect. Okay, Tim had to do the rankings and the other guys that are in this earlier, you know, not knowing if they're coming back in that.
Sure.
So Lakeville South, they lost one key player. So I think they're going to be good. They got their goalie back. Rogers, I like their up-and-coming team.
David
system,
Brown
that, yeah.
does a great job
and
with
you,
that program.
And you used to play, East used to play South, but you got Rogers.
Yep.
Okay, they got Minnetonka. They picked up players from I mean, they got that Sheets kid from Chaska, really good forward. And I mean,
Right.
they got some good players on their team already.
We
And then,
drafted him when I was in Omaha.
Yeah?
he's
Okay.
real good.
okay, and Benil, they got so many good
Wes
young
Berg
players.
just came over from Gentry.
Bird, yeah.
Yep, Wes Berg
Yep.
just came over.
Yep. Andover, they're 3 forwards.
Yep, they're
Just
all
came
coming
back.
back.
I talked to Manny. I knew this a long time ago. They should have asked me. Maple Grove, Finn came back.
Yep.
And Nelson's over at the development team. That's too bad because he is one hell of a player, I thought.
Wouldn't you agree that if you're going to go play for the team Team USA, that might be the one caveat of leaving high school early to go play for your country?
That would be, but a lot of Minnesota kids get offered that spot and they say no.
Yeah, no
They
doubt.
want to be with friends, especially the ones that are out of the Twin Cities.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would consider it and take another extra day thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then Moorhead, they're not going to be. I was going to start them number one.
Yeah.
If they had their players come back, they had that little Bantam player that went over to the development team too, and they got two great Ds that are going to be D1s, and then they got Bents. You know, and they got some good players still. They're going to be close to the top 10, but they might be back in the area where I'm going to put you guys in the 11 through 15. And no one has you in the top 25 even.
That's
what
okay.
the hell?
That's okay.
I'm just figuring it out. I'm going to die knowing hockey, and they don't know anything. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, Rosetta's still Rosetta. They can throw 3 lines at you, and you can't tell the difference. So you can't change something where you're going to stop this player, that. They just go, their system, that's what they do.
Yeah,
and it's usually low-scoring games.
Picked up Hopkins' 2 best kids.
Yeah.
They just transferred to Wayzata.
Well, that team, if they would have kept all their Bantam players, they're like Maple Grove. If they stayed in high school, those 2 teams would have been great every year, you know.
Sure.
Chanhassen's the upcoming team.
Right.
If Chaska, they're not even on this list, that was smart because they lost about 7, 8 players.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. Why? And Spihar, his 2 kids left.
Yeah, they're playing Tier 1 out in Sioux Falls.
I don't know about that. I got to talk to him. I don't know what he's smoking. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so the Catholic schools, I like Benil a lot.
Sure.
And I like Cretin a lot. What I don't like about Cretin is their schedule. And if you don't have a good schedule, it's going to hurt you. Because you got to play 5 tough games in the sections and then get to the state and win 3 at state. And usually most sections from semis on are going to be tough. And when you don't play a tough schedule, it's hard to come back after a tough game.
No doubt.
Yeah, so that's what hurt them the last couple of years, really.
Sure.
And but I like Cretin has a good team, good system. That just their schedule's messing them up, I think. Eden Prairie, new coach. We'll see. They got some good, nice players, but I don't know they're as deep as they used to be. Rapids, I don't know if I put them in the top 15, but they're probably close to what you guys are.
Returning a senior goaltender
that's right.
who's lights out. I mean,
that's right.
It's a pretty valuable piece to have.
You need the foundation. When you have the foundation, you can work on and do a lot of more things.
Yeah.
Because you can stay in games and then.
Well, the advice I got from Coach Randolph was you need a loyal wife.
Okay.
You need a good dog, and you need a good goaltender. Those are the 3 things.
Did he say what order? I was gone. Did you know how that Hermantown St. Thomas scrimmage went?
I didn't.
Okay. Okay. Edina is always good. They got numbers. They got players. They lost Jimmy Clark. He was thinking of leaving every year from 9th grade on. So, but they're still going to be. I think they're better than 8 right now without Clark. So, we'll see. And then what are the teams that I like that year? And so we got Duluth East, we got Eden Prairie, Hill Murray. You play Rapids twice. You play Eden Prairie. You play White Bear Lake to open the season this Friday.
Yep.
So that's here.
It is.
Heritage Center Friday night, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
And
yep.
5 o'clock JV, right?
Correct.
2 hours before all the time.
Yep.
You got a lot of home games.
We do. We were on the road a lot last year. So.
Yeah. Most years you are.
Yeah.
They say that the Duluth East team travels more than any college team. Okay, let's go over some of your schedules. Okay. Let's see if you know anything about any of these teams yet that you're playing. White Bear Lake, the same coach for over 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, we know they're going to come hard with a
Right.
2-man forecheck, and they're going to play tough in their own end, and they've got some pretty good goaltending, I think, on the backside. So It'll be a good one.
Second game Saturday, but it's over at the Bloomington Ice Gardens on Saturday, Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Yep, and the
Get over
times
there.
actually are changed from that. Tony from the Youth Hockey Hub just texted me yesterday where that game's actually at 4 o'clock now.
Oh, any reason?
JV game at 2:15. I'm not sure. I didn't ask. I didn't know.
I'm going to tell Tony you can't do that. Because there's other games going on that you want to see.
Sure.
I think Andover's playing Tonka at
really?
about 5:30 or something like that.
No.
And then they have the turkey trot with Maple Grove and Wazetta, Moorhead, and Maple Grove, Edina.
Sure.
So, some good start out the season games, you know.
Yeah.
So, okay, you know Coach Randolph.
Yes.
He's been here 200 years,
Yeah.
and then he left. I always think it's funny, you know, he would never play a private school. Now he's coaching a private school. But I know his team, I saw him scrimmage in the summer. They're very young.
Yeah.
They don't have too much depth. But I think in the second half of the year, they'll be good. But they have a real good young goalie. I know that.
And they picked up that
Dietz.
Dietz kid too.
Yeah,
So
he's a real deal. He's a D1. He'll be a D1, and Cronin will be their offensive player.
Yeah.
And then, like Randolph is pretty good at the second half of the season, he doesn't care about the first half, win or loss, but he wants them to get better and better and better, and by playoff time.
Right.
You know, that's the way you coach high school kids.
that's the recipe.
And so many kids now, we're talking, to go back to phones, you know, with phones, girlfriends, the stuff that goes on phones. Do you have any rules with phones with the team, or like can you bring it to practice on the bus to games and that?
We have a time when we say the phones go away. I've got a big cell phone carrier I just actually had it made that's gonna hang in the locker room, so they'll be able to keep their phone in there
Yeah.
to keep it out of the way.
Yeah.
You know, the one challenge is that you know, they listen to their music on it, and you know, it's so integral into what they do with their day-to-day lives that it's tough to fully pull it away. You know, it used to be we take it away from them the whole time, and now we just try to limit the use in those important times when they need to start preparing.
One fast thing, being a high school coach now, you notice that sometimes you're not only coaching, you're almost the parent.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think I've found that these first two groups that I've worked with, they've been very supportive, and we work together very well, actually. I communicate what my message is, and I have not really received any negative feedback on that. And so I feel like it's more of a teamwork sort of a thing, like you're trying to reinforce the good things that the parents are telling, and
Right.
you know, while setting some standards and introducing them that, you know, life outside of their house has different rules too at times. So I think we have a nice balance with our group that way.
So same assistant coaches?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Well, Duluth East High School boys coach, Steve Petosia, his first game is Friday right there at the Heritage Center. Then he starts going on the road a little bit, and he's back home a lot this season, so get out to the Heritage Center. This is a very good, deep Duluth East team, and I think they're going to have a good season this time, so get out and watch some good hockey. Thank you, Coach Petosia.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and that's it for the Minnesota Hockey Connection, and we'll see you at the rink. Good.